this is my first time come to Africa. It's a very exciting experience. And I'm learning quite a lot. Yeah. So maybe before that, I can give some general introduction about myself. So I was born in China, and then my hometown is the capital of the first emperor of China. And then have you heard of terracotta army? Those soldiers made by clay, which is thousands of years ago. So I exactly look at those kind of faces of the terracotta army. One of them is exactly my face. Terracotta army. So and then I studied in China, and then I went to Singapore for PhD study and continue work there for quite a long time. I mean, Singapore looks similar to here, which is hot and humid every day, every year. So it's in the equator, but it's hotter than here. So here is much better, it's cooler. So, and then I moved to Cambridge for research work. So, because before that I was focused mostly in material science. Then in Cambridge I was in electrical engineering. And then after 3 years, then I got a job offer from Edinburgh, the Harvard University, but that was in mechanical engineering. So I was teaching in mechanical engineering. And then after some time, I moved to West Scotland, Glasgow area, and then I began to move in physics. So now I'm here, go to the Newcastle. So if you like football, you probably heard of Newcastle, which is okay, not very good. But it was good before, yeah. And the Newcastle has a kind of the statue, which is very high, like 50 meters. We call the Angel of North. So I use this one to welcome anybody who are interested in doing research work in UK or Newcastle. Please let me know. So my research work is most focused on the so-called thin film materials. So we deposit the very, very thin film on a substrate. And then we use these thin film materials to make some micro devices. So we normally call this one is a MEMS, or microsystem, or microelectromechanical system. So basically, it's the device which can be activated using electrical signal, and then do a reaction, or do activation, or do something. So this is we call the micro devices. Another area which I focus on is using the nanotechnology. So we use in different ways to make the nanomaterials. So these materials can be used for energy, can be used for sensors, can be used for the various different applications. And then the next one is that we use thin film materials, and then we make some biochips or lab-on chips. So basically, we claim that we can use the micro-scale chips, which we only need one blood droplet, and then we can do maybe tens of different disease analysis. So this is basically according to the smart material. So firstly, so what is smart materials? Probably you have already known some of them. So we normally define the material when the environmental changes, for example, temperature changing, UV light, solar cell, the sunlight, or the gas release. So the material will collect the signal and then respond automatically. So the response can be, the signal changing, like electrical signal, optical signal changing, or other signal changing. Then we can use it for sensors. So that means anything signal changing, we measure it. We know that, oh, what's going on? It's sensing. Or the material itself will respond. The response can be activation. So the material can be expansion. So it can activate something, moving something. So that is material for smart materials. So in this way, is that the materials can be made for both of sensors and actuators. So sensor actuator we normally call the microsystem, or MEMS, microelectromechanical system. So there are many materials belong to these smart materials. For example, piezoelectric, or shape memory, or the other materials. So I will use some very simple example to show that how the smart materials can be used for the sensor and actuator. So let's do some very simple structure. This is the cantilever. We made by micro machining, either using the clean room fabrication or just using the cutting. So after you make the thin cantilever, and then we can deposit the smart materials on it. Or this cantilever itself is smart materials. So you probably think about, oh, that's easy, it's just cantilever. Why we can use it for the sensor and actuator? So the easiest thing is that, okay, we can have a layer of smart materials. This is smart materials on cantilever. And then if any disease or molecules flow through it and attach to it, this cantilever will have a stress, surface stress. It will bend up or down. If we're using laser to detect what is bent up and down, then we can detect whether there is any bioreaction or disease or not. So this is very simple. The cantilever itself is good biosensor because it reflects the light, laser, and we can use it for sensor. So this is one of the easiest application. And then we can also use it for the display, for example, projector. So how this projector here? Of course, projectors, they have different principles. I mean, you can use a kind of materials, smart material like piezoelectric, deposit on surface, right? And then you can activate by control the high frequency voltage. Then the cantilever will bend up and down according to the voltage. So you can control, you can make hundreds of thousands of cantilever, each single cantilever. Then this cantilever has a top mirror attached to it. Then it can reflect the light to the different position. So on the screen like this one, projector, you have bright, dark, or different colors, just because the light will reflect the different places. So that means the cantilever can be used for different applications. You can use it for the optical mirror. It can reflect the light to the different positions. So you can using the valve, you can using it for mirror or using the different applications. The good advantage for microsystem is that we can increase, or we can mass production. It's similar like silicon technology. The wider silicon or chips, silicon chip is so, commercialized into the different applications. For example, mobile phone, we have tons of different, thousands of devices in the mobile phone. They are made by silicon. The reason is because it's mass production. So using the lithography method, we can make on the maybe 16-inch or 32-inch wafer thousands of devices at the same time. Then you can reduce the cost significantly, and then the mass production at the same property. So you can reduce cost and use for the wider applications. Similarly, you can make thousands of cantilevers in one chip, and then each one will do some sensor or activation purpose. And then, for example, this one cantilever can also use for the energy harvesting. So we know that we are walking every day, right? So we actually vibrating, moving, but this energy can be collected if we're using a materials we call the piezoelectric materials. If we make the materials and then we make top electrode, bottom electrode, if we're moving, vibrating, jumping, this material will be vibrating or bending. Then there will be voltage generated. This voltage can be collected, for example, through a battery or through other capacitor. Then you can collect the energy. So every day you're walking, you basically charge yourself, the battery, which is good, right? You don't waste a lot of your body weight energy. So all cantilever can be used for this purpose. Let's give another example. This time I make a different cantilever, like tens of cantilever. Each cantilever has different lengths. So we put the top electrode and bottom electrode. Of course, in between them is insulator. So that you can apply the voltage between top cantilever, mount cantilever to the bottom electrode. If we continue applying voltage, we can see that the longest cantilever touching down first. And then gradually, the cantilever one by one will touch on the ground, touch the bottom. So each cantilever bend and touch will causing the signal changing. For example, capacitance. So we call this one is the digital, multi-digital variable arc capacitor. So because we can change the capacitance by using this way. So what's the principle? So basically, we have make a different cantilever, different lengths. The cantilever, the top electrode, the bottom electrode, once you apply the voltage, there will be electrical charge, or we call it electrostatic force generated. So electrostatic force or voltage is depending on the kind of the area which between the top electrode and bottom electrode. The longest cantilever has the largest overlapping area, right? So the longest cantilever, according to this equation, it will have the smallest voltage. So that means if you apply the voltage gradually, the longest cantilever will have the smallest voltage going down. So this is the fighting between the electrostatic force with the mechanical rigidity of the cantilever, because the cantilever itself is resistant for deformation, right? So the voltage increases to a certain value, the top cantilever will pull down. Once it pull down, the capacitance C will be changing. So we can change the capacitance by pull down one by one. So that means if we make the multiple cantilevers, the longest cantilever will be pulled down first. Gradually, one by one, the cantilever will pull down together. Each one will have the steps increase of capacitance. So it looks like playing piano, right? Your fingers up and down, up and down. And each one will have the signal changing. So let's just give you some very simple example. That means a simple cantilever can make for different sensor and actuation applications. Of course, that's just one example. You have the membrane, you have the the host, you have the different structure of MEMS devices. I will cover another area which is we call chip memory thin film. Has anybody heard of chip memory? Yeah, so there are actually a wide application of chip memory alloy. For example, aerospace, they have antenna. Rocket has an antenna, or satellite has an antenna. This material is normally made by chip memory. So before they rocket it to go to space, they crush it, make it much smaller. Once they go to space, it's automatically changing the shape into the antenna shape, very large shape. So this is a very good application. And also you can see a lot of people wear the kind of a teeth correction, right? That's shape memory alloy. They're changing the shape of your teeth gradually. And also recently is that more and more people, when they get elder, right, then the blood vessel become, couldn't expanding or with not a very good expansion. Then they put the stents. So you put stents into your body, into the blood vessel. So that means the blood flow efficiently, so you don't have a problem with your heart. So if you go to the hospital, the doctor will ask, okay, do you have money or not? If you see, no problem. Then they will say, oh, let's put a few chip memory cantilever, stents, because it's a very good property. If you see, oh, I don't have enough money, then they'll say, let's do stainless steel. So that means chip memory is much better efficiency. So what's the principle of chip memory? Because the chip memory material is titanium nickel, titanium element and nickel element 50-50. At the room temperature, it's zigzag shape crystal. It's quite easy to deform. Once it deforms, if you heat this material, the material automatically changing the crystal from deformed martensite into austenite, into another crystal. During this transformation, the material just suddenly changes shape. It's returned back to original shape. So that means if you have the chip memory wire, you can bend what kind of shape, right? If you're just using temperature, the material just boom, return back to original shape. So this is a very good application. So we actually, the shape memory material have applied for a lot of different applications. We were thinking that, oh, this is a very good material for micro gripper or micro devices. We can use it for microsurgery or called keyhole surgery. So that means if you have the operation in your body, you don't need to open your heart, whatever. You only need to have, through the catheter, go through the blood vessel to go to your heart, and then using micro gripper, micro devices to operate. So everything is goes through the catheter to go to your body. So they call the microsurgery. Then in that case, we need a lot of grippers to operate, to collect the tissue, analyze tissue cut, and then repair. So in that case, those structures are very small, but we need very high, good performance, right? Because in your body, you need to rely on. So that's why we think we should be using the high performance material we call shape memory alloy. So shape memory alloy, why we need to use it for the activation? Because for all the principle for activation, shape memory alloy has same weight or same volume. It will give you the best or largest force or largest power. So that means if you have the same weight or same volume of the material, shape memory alloy will give the best activation performance. Force and pressure is very large. Along with it, other property will also changing. So that means you can also use it for sensor activation, for both activation. But the trouble for shape memory is because it's using heat. We heat up the material changing shape. For all the principle using the heating method, the problem is the frequency. You can heat it up very fast, right? But cooling down is much difficult. So that means you cannot operate very fast. So for some application, we need it very fast. So for example, piezoelectric is much better in high frequency. Shape memory or thermal, very low frequency. So how can we increase the frequency? We operate very, very fast. The way we were doing is that we can use thin film, make the thin film deposition, make a very, very thin material, and then this material will be easily heated up, cooling down. So the material will be faster and more powerful to actuate. So this material is actually like metal. It's nickel titanium. And like metal, you can deposit the metal. The metal is very ductile. You can peel off from substrate and then make it into structure, right? And then, so this is just a freestanding film. We can easily use heating, cooling, and activation, right? If we're using the kind of microstructure design, so making it into the different structure, we can actually activation by deform the structure cantilever. For example, we call this one is a lateral micro activated. So that means if the current flows through the thin beam, wide beam, you can actually heat up the material expanding to different directions. So that means you're using the simple design, you can make the micro tweezer or micro gripper. We hope that this micro tweezer gripper can collect the cells or do operation, right? So you can easily design it, but then the trouble is that the structure not only opening X and Y direction, it also bending up and down, which is not what we want, right? But if we make the film thicker and thicker, then we actually can collect the particle or cells. So this is a micro gripper which can collect the micro particles, which is similar to the cell, biological cells. And then, if the auto bending significantly, we can design some structure which is cantilever structure, bending significantly to do the micro operation, right? So what we can do is that we can deposit the film on any cantilever. And then if we apply the electrical current, it will heat up and then let it open and down, right? So that is the way we are doing it. So we make the thin film deposit on substrate like silicon or metal. Once the current flows through it, the cantilever will be bent up and down because the material changing the shape memory. And then we can make the two cantilever together as a gripper. You can do in cutting, collecting, so for different applications. And then the advantage for the micro device application is because we can fabricate hundreds of thousands of different devices on one silicon chip, you can see. And then each one, we're using the current flows through each finger. So the finger structure, like you can make the micro hand structure. So each current flows through each finger. It's opening, close, because of stress or because thermal. It's open, close, which we can use it for collecting the cells, do the cutting, do the manipulation, right? So that is the advantage. So we also trying to show that we can use it for cells, biology cells. So this is actually the polymer ball, polymer. So because it's difficult to collect the cells, right? Then we're using polymer ball as an example. And then we try to collect the polymer ball, and then under scanning electron microscope, right? The surface is quite rough. Then we paint the color, right? Looks what it looks like. It's like the earth, right? So we call this image is saving our planet Earth. So it's an environmental image. Okay, so that is the one application. We're using kind of thin film micro devices and for biomedical or microsurgery applications. Another example I'm trying to show you that we can use some thin film for lab on chip for biodetection or disease detection. So lab on chip, basically, the idea is that we want to reduce the cost. We want to use it very highly efficiency. So everybody go to the hospital, do the medical checkup, right? And sometimes if we want to do the blood analysis, the doctor or nurse take a lot of blood, 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles. Why do they need to use such kind of amount? Because they will put each one into different tubes. And different tubes will have the pre-deposited some biobundle. And then your blood sample will react with different reagent. And then after some time, the signal will change it. You will see, oh, I don't have, or I have 1 or 2 or 3. So the lab on chip basically is that we don't need such kind of amount. Maybe 1 blood droplet can do all analysis. Or everybody can buy a kind of chip doing analysis in your home. Because if we have the blood droplet, we can dilute it and then gradually flow to the different position or different channel, and then react with the pre-deposited bundle. And then the detection is through the system to detect all those devices position. And then immediately it's much faster, it's more efficient, and more accurate, rather than the bottle, like what we are using in the hospital. So in order to do it, people use different methods. That means we need a blood sample dilution, moving, mixing, pumping, and bioreaction. So is there any one technology can realize all these functions? We claim that yes, we have one technology which is called acoustic wave, which can do all the functions: moving, mixing, bioreaction, sensor, and removing. So if you don't know much about the acoustic wave, so let's go back to some fundamental. Anybody know the piezoelectric? Yeah, some of you, yeah. Piezoelectric materials are some materials is smart materials. These materials normally is tetrahedral structure, crystal structure. These materials, if you don't apply any voltage, the material doesn't give you output. If you apply voltage, the elements or atoms in position will jumping. After the atom jumping, moving, the material becomes expanded or shrinkage. So that means if you apply the force to this material, then the material becomes asymmetrical. Then there will be electricity generated, we call dipole generated. So this material is very special because it can, if you press it, it generates electricity, voltage. If you apply the voltage, it will become expanding, shrinkage, right? So this material is very good material for sensor and actuators. So we're using this principle to generate a kind of acoustic wave. So it's the high frequency mechanical wave. So it's like the nanoscale earthquake. So basically you have source. So normally it's finger type electrode. This electrode will deposit on piezoelectric materials. As we know that piezoelectric, if you apply the high frequency voltage, right, it will generate vibration. The vibration is similar to the earthquake, the source. The vibration causing the high frequency waves, which propagation from the source to the surface. So why the earthquake is so dangerous? It's because the wave propagation on the earth, right? So this wave could destroy all the houses on the earth because it's vibrating, right? So similarly, this surface acoustic wave is nanoscale. So the amplitude only like a sub-nano, which is very small, high frequency. But then the effect is significant. The reason is because it has an interaction with the material. So the first is that we need to do biosensing, right? If we generate the frequency from one source, so in that case we have one electrode, another electrode. So we generate the high frequency signal from one electrode and let it propagate to another electrode. Then we compare the frequency shift in a certain area between them. If between them, if anything happens, for example, bioreaction or disease, then the frequency will be shifted, or phase angle will be shifted. So that means we're just monitoring what is the frequency shift to predict whether there is a signal or disease or not. So probably you will think that, okay, that's okay, but then what about the other factor? Anything can happen causing the frequency shift, right? Temperature, humidity, water, blah, 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 a lot of. Why do we think that is, only that we can use the chip to predict what is disease? In that case, we normally control the environment. So that means the biochip needs to do in the controlled environment. And also, currently, we think that we need to using the multiple sensors. So on the chip, we make maybe tons of different sensors. They have the same principle, but each one we're using for the different purpose. They deposit the different materials on each device. Then we need to use a computer or artificial intelligence to predict, to compare, to analyze what's different between them, right? Then finally, we will predict whether how many diseases you have or potential. Using the reference, we can get rid of the temperature effect, humidity effect, right? So that means we can use it for biosensing. The advantage for surface acoustic wave is wireless. So the signal can be sent out through the wireless way. So it's like a mobile phone, right? Mobile phone, we have tons of different surface acoustic wave devices. The signal come out, the mobile phone collect it, filter it. We call RF filter. So this is very good. Similarly, we can use it for the biosensing. So we can remote control. So that means we can make a device everybody can buy in future. In your home, you just put one drop of blood into this device. It will automatically go inside, flow inside, mixing and reaction. And then finally, the signal will be sending out through the wireless to mobile phone or to hospital. So that means you only need to buy a product in your home, then the signal will go to hospital. Maybe in the future that would be a very good idea, right? So not only from here, that's only sensing, right? But the electron chip also has the function of the microfluidics. So you need to dilution, moving, pumping, mixing, reaction, or remove or waste, or whatever. All functions need to be using liquid flowing, right? So surface cooled wave is basically a very good principle because the energy of the wave, once the propagation into liquid, the energy will go inside liquid. So normally is at one angle, the pressure will go inside liquid, causing its internal flowing. So the droplet under the microfluidics, the energy will go inside liquid. The liquid got pressure. The pressure causing the liquid flowing inside. We call it internal flowing. This is very good for mixing. So that means if you have liquid, you can quickly make it internal mixing, right? So this is the principle. So that means if we put the liquid in front of the propagation wave, there will be liquid pumping, flowing, right? So this is the principle. So the wave propagation on the surface, and then the liquid in front. So this liquid can be liquid droplet, or liquid in microchamber or microchannel. So the principle is the same. So energy will go inside, causing the flowing, we call butterfly effect. So like the one butterfly flowing circularly to it. So if you look at what's happening inside the droplet, you can see that internally, if you have the biological cells, the cell will flowing together with the liquid. It will gradually pumping forward, right? So that means you can realize liquid flowing, pumping. Of course, in this case, we need to treat the surface hydrophobic, so the liquid is easily flowing. Hydrophobic layer like the pancake pans or a cooking pot, right? You have layer of Teflon, then it's quite easy to cook. So the liquid will flow in easily. So you can do mixing. So that means you have one liquid with blood, and then the water diluted. You push this blood sample, push and mix with the water, then we're causing the dilution of the biological blood sample. Not only here, it's quite easy to form the pumping. What we can do if we increase the power, so the liquid droplet might not have enough time. It will be ejected from surface. So that means we can do jetting, right? So for example, here is example. We have very large droplet, like 50 microliter, very large. And then the liquid will have energy. The energy absorbed by liquid, and then liquid has the high power, the power of the surface wave. It will push up the droplet, and then like ejected into the liquid beam. And then at the same time, the gravity of the liquid becomes significant because it's huge. Then the droplet wants to falling down, but because surface tension hold it up. So all liquid has been ejected from surface, right? So you can also, this is on the edge, a very standard aluminum substrate. You can deposit the piezoelectric film on any substrate like an aluminum plate. Then you can see that there is a significant wave propagation in the liquid and ejecting liquid significantly. So we claim that, oh, this can be used for printing, right? We can eject the droplet printing on paper. But trouble is that printing, we need vertical, right? Nobody wants to have this angle, that angle, right? So how can we realize the vertical jetting? So basically, quite easy. If we have the wave from both sides. So the wave from both sides we call standing wave. So the liquid have pressure from here, pressure from here, and then the energy into the liquid will balance in the x direction, right? The only droplet can move is upward, right? So that means if you apply the high power, so the pressure from both sides pushes droplet up, and the energy reflected to the surface of droplet deformed, and then push further up, and then up and up, then you get the vertical jetting. So that means we can use this one for printing by vertically to the ink with biomolecules or cells. Another very interesting phenomenon for surface cooled wave is nebulization or atomization. So if you have asthma, right, then you will buy some kind of mechanical type of drug inhaler. That's a mechanical wave. Normally, mechanical wave frequency very low. Frequency low, that means the droplet generated very, very large. It won't go inside your lung efficiently. Surface cooled wave, it has very high frequency. It will generate much, much finer droplet. The finer droplet, it will go much deeper into your lungs, which is more effective if you want to treat your lungs, right, disease, right? So that is surface cooled wave. Surface cooled wave propagation to liquid. In this case, the liquid, the surface is not hydrophobic, it's hydrophilic, so that means the liquid won't move in freely. And then the surface vibrating on the droplet, there will be small capillary wave generated. Capillary wave, that means you have surface, very small wave generated. If the amplitude is larger and larger, then there is small droplet ejected from the surface. So there are a lot of small atomized droplet, which become mixed or mixed. So here is a video which showing that okay, this link doesn't work very well, but this is droplet. It become kind of volcano. It suddenly become erupted from the surface. So that means you can using it is working. So basically, this liquid droplet become like a volcano, and then suddenly you have a large amount of mist coming out. So this is droplet. It's actually much finer, and then you can use it for very efficient drug inhaler or drug analysis. So from cross-section point of view, it's exactly like a volcano generated. So the wave propagation, then the surface will suddenly become vibrating and then ejected from into the small particles and the droplet until all the liquid become ejected from the surface. So this is very efficient. So let me give you another example using the piezoelectric materials. It's basically for the cell manipulation. As we know that the blood sample will have a lot of cells, right? And then we want to differentiate between the cancer cell or normal cell, or the different cell with the bacteria or different components, right? And then we can use the principle we call the standing wave. Standing wave, that means you have wave from both sides. So the wave has same amplitude, same wavelength. Then you have generate a stable wave we call standing wave. In that standing wave, then basically all the particles, there will be energy highest position, energy lowest position. So all the particles will move into the energy lowest position, which we call nodes. So all the particles will move finally to the position. But as we know that the larger particle or denser particle have much larger force, so they move much faster. Smaller particle and less dense particle or bubbles, they won't move or move slowly. We can use the time difference quickly move in the micro flow. Then we make the position changing faster. Then we can separate the different large particle, small particle, or bacteria or cells. So this is the principle. So that means you can generate a wave from both sides. And then this wave has same amplitude, same frequency. Then after interaction, it will generate a standing wave, stable wave. And then all the particles will be aligned. So with this little example, here is a microchannel with 6 microparticles. If we switch on the wave from both sides, all the particles quickly align. And then we can use this way, changing the frequency. So the lower frequency, it has a much larger wavelength, so the distance between lines is much larger. Higher frequency, the distance between them much smaller. So you're jumping from lower frequency to higher frequency, the particle will quickly move. But the larger particles, small particles, or bacteria or cells, they will respond differently, they will move differently. That means we can use this way to move it, to process adjustment of the different particles. and then separate them. So I just using the principle here. That means you have a microchannel with all the blood sample. And then they flow together to here, the first pair of the electrode. They make a standing wave. So all the biology cells or bacteria have been aligned. When they flow to the second pair of device, the frequency suddenly changes. Then the particles will respond differently. And then due to the time difference, then the particle will be separated. Then they will they will flow to the different channels. So here is might be the better illustration. So you see the biology cells flowing with microchannel. And then you can use standing wave separation, alignment, or using focus wave to pick up single particles. So as we know that in hospitals, they have the cleaning of the liver liquid. You have the liquid in liver, you can come out, clean the liver. Maybe in the future, if the technology is good, then we have the blood cleaning. So that means you go out to take out the blood sample, find out what's wrong, the cancer cell, they separate it, then re-inject all your blood to your body. But then there could be a lot of issue with ethics or something. But anyway, so the technology is developing much faster. So that means in the future, you can pick up what the cell, if it's cancer cell, then we separate it. Or we separate the mass, thousands of cells at the same time. We separate it in different ways. And then another way is that not only cell sorting, we actually tissue engineering. We grow the cell and make the tissues. Or another way is that we're doing drug analysis. In this way, we can put the cells and medicine or drugs together, let them to mixing together, then quickly increase the drug analysis time, right? In this way, we don't using the parallel electrode. We're using vertically or four electrode. So the propagation of wave from vertical direction will causing a matrix, right? So all the cells or particles will be concentrated into the matrix dots position. In this way, you actually put all the cells into the position and then enhance it reaction or promote its growth. Someone already claimed that they can grow the human hair using this method. So just put the hair position, let it grow much faster. Someone say that, okay, they increase the drug analysis time much faster because they're using the principle to vibrating the biology, the molecules with cells. They can do analysis much faster without any computer device. So we can also doing the 3D manipulation. So everything, if you make the chamber much higher, it's a 3D positioning, so you can make the tissue structure in the 3D pattern. So that's another application. So our research work now is that flexible device or wearable device is much popular. So we know that we have the wearable watch or patch structure which can, for analysis, which can change in shape, right? So we are trying to develop the acoustic wave sensor which can be bended, which can be wearable, which can use for any like a patch or structure. You can paste on anywhere and then it gives signal and act, wound treatment or sensing for disease. For this application, of course, we need to have the substrate which is flexible, wearable, right? Then first thing we think is polymer. Polymer, as we know, that it is bendable, flexible. And if we deploy the film on polymer, then we can make a SAW device which is bendable, flexible. But only trouble for polymer is that polymer is soft. We are doing mechanical wave. Mechanical wave is vibration. If the material is soft, the wave suddenly disappears because it's too soft. So that means polymer, you can make the sensor, but not very good for microfluidic. You cannot move in solid, right? Similarly, we have another material we call aluminum foil. Anybody use aluminum foil? Kitchen foil, right? You wrap the kitchen foil on the some and then put in the oven. So kitchen foil, you deposit the film, zinc oxide or piezoelectric. You make an electrode. You will make the foil-based solid device. So it's working very good because you can bend it, you can reform, you can bend it different shape, you can pump in the droplet, and then you can activate it in the different level, right? Not enough, because wearable device, if you have wearable here, every day you are moving up and down in different directions. You cannot just let it flat and moving droplet, right? We need to demonstrate that any position, this droplet or liquid can be pumped in efficiently. So we're actually using the microstructure, make the surface is not a certain hydrophobic feeling. You put droplet there, the droplet will stick. But then the surface is still hydrophobic enough. You have weight pushing it in different directions. Then we can realize the mixing function or biological function on the different. So that means we can move in different directions. The droplet is still moving very fast. You can also do in the jetting or different functions. What we are trying to realize is like a roller coaster effect. Once you get the droplet put in any direction, the droplet will move in inside or outside because the wave will propagation on a different position. We can realize all the droplets will move in and sensing. Okay, so that is on the biological or lab-on-chip application. So finally, I want to cover with we're using the smart materials for nanoscale structures. So this one is focused mostly on the energy side. So we are using the thin film processing technology, making the microparticles, microstructures. And then these structures have very high surface tension. You can use it for the sensors, gas sensors, biosensors, or you're using for the energy, for example, catalyst, because surface area is huge, right? So this is covered with the nanoscale. So as we know that microscale, the device is still micro, millimeter or some millimeter. You still can look at it. That's the device, right? If you go down to nanoscale, you won't see it using naked eye. You must have electron microscope or the other high technology. So otherwise, even optical microscope is difficult to observe microscale. So nanotechnology is more dealing with nanostructures or nanoscale of particles or biological tissue cells or molecules. So why do we need to use nano? The first, of course, is size. Size doesn't matter. If we think of the macro scale, for physics point of view, micro devices, shrinkage from macro to micro, physics is still the same. You wouldn't change physics. But if you reduce to nanoscale, the physics become totally changing. So that means it's not continuously mechanics. It's become like quantum effect. So you have probability involved. So everything becomes uncertainty. And then the property of materials becomes suddenly changing. We all know golden color salt is make the decoration, right? But if you make the hundreds of nanometer of gold, so for example, from 50 nanometer to several hundred nanometer, the gold particle solution will have different colors, maybe from red to blue to yellow, because the particle will reflect and will have a different photonic the property. It will reflect the light differently. So that means everything can be changing, property can changing. You have new material, new device, new capability, new application of known materials once you go to nanoscale. Another reason because the surface tension or surface area. If you go down to nanoscale, then the surface becomes significant. If you are using for something like catalytic reaction, battery, biosensing, gas sensing, fuel cell, catalyst, supercapacitor, then you basically have using their surface area effect. This will be enhance significantly of this. For example, this is what we do. This is silver or gold particle. We know that if with a macro particle, you put the two particles together, they won't bond together, right? But if you make them into like a 50 nanometer or smaller, all the particles will bond together. They become a kind of solid. So here is under the microscope, you can see the particle bonded together. And it's research is sometimes very fun, because if you look at it, what's it look like? It's Disney cartoon, right? So it's Disney mouse, and then the ducks, yeah. So it's very funny, but it's actually the silver particle bonding together with a nanoscale. And then we can see the carbon nanotube has discharge. It's flower release the charging effect. It's like a thundering effect, a lightning effect. And then we make the different structures using the technology and making the core shell structure this one. So all this we're using the very high technology, which is need clean room fabrication. And then sometimes we think that, okay, we don't have such kind of equipment. How can we do the nanotechnology or nanoscience? Yes, if you don't have this kind of high technology, you can still doing something using the different ways. For example, you can using chemical method. So chemists claim that they have been doing nanotechnology for hundreds of thousands of years. Because what they do is they make a solution, reaction, and then they form in the liquid a lot of different nanoscale, this kind of flower pattern or different patterns. This one will be collected and then used for different applications. So this is what we call hydrosomal. It's just liquid chemicals making together, heat it up, and the particles grow into the nanoscale. And then easily done. We have done a lot of different chemicals. And then you can see we can make the nanoparticle, nanoflower, nanorods, or nanoplates. They have different shape, they have different surface area. And then this one is very effectively using for application, for example, gas sensing. So you can use oxide for different gases, dangerous gas for sensing, because surface area is huge. Electrical property can change dramatically. And then we also use it for solar cell, because solar cell is surface area increased, it can absorb sunlight efficiently. We also use it for battery, electrode, water splitting electrode. So there are a lot of research work we can use it. So lastly, nanotechnology, you cannot always use a nanoparticle. Nanoparticle in principle is very toxic, because once it is nanoparticle goes into the lung, it will never come out. You will got big trouble with nanoparticle. And then most technology, sometimes we use is we call the nanocomposite. Basically, we embedded those kind of nanoparticles into the structure, and then using the bulk material of nanocomposite as a structure materials. For example, you can put into some polymer like shape memory, and then you're using it for the enhancing the mechanical property and the thermal property of using nanoparticles. You're basically mixing with the polymer with nanoparticles. So this is quite a hot topic application. For example, if you buy the tennis racket or something, they call the carbon fiber enhanced racket. It's actually the carbon based. So it's just using the different ways to enhancing mechanical property. So basically, you can using the different nanofilters. Just a little bit, you can enhance the property, electrical property, optical property, mechanical property, or magnetic property. You can put in those kind of nanoparticles of electrical, mechanical, optical particles. And then you can use it for different applications. So I don't have time to look for different applications, but then they can be used for the the body, the disease or stents for the heart surgery. You can use it for vapors, you can use it for drug release, or blood vessel, blocking, anti-blocking. Okay, so in conclusion, my area is just focusing on thin film. So as the previous speaker said, that nowadays multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary is actually the future. So I'm covering from physics, mechanical, electrical engineering, and different areas. And then we're using the thin film materials making the microscale structures, using for microsurgery application or microoperation, precision engineering. Or we are using this method to make the nanoparticles, nanostructures for sensing, for energy application. Or these materials can be used for biodetection. We can use it for the lab-on-chip application for all the functions. So that means the small scale of material, thin film material, smart material, can be designed and applied for different applications, which hopefully in the future can solve the problem for us. So I should say that all the work basically is collaborating with other researchers in the world. So I should thank most of the contribution. And then I also thank the research funding provide some opportunity. And I also heard that there is we actually have the Global Challenge funding, which must involve in the Africa country or poor country, and then we work together to get a huge funding to develop either solar cell or biosensor or gas sensor, right? So that would be a good opportunity for me to come to have here to collaborate with you. So thank you very much.